In July, Marblehead played host to the start of the 363-mile race to Halifax. The first running was in 1905. It was sailed sporadically until 1939 when the Boston Yacht Club teamed up with the Royal Nova Scotia Yacht Squadron. One of the entries is the 1970 America's Cup contender Valiant. It's unusual to see a 12-meter sailing a long-distance race. The course starts off Marblehead, Massachusetts, across the Gulf of Maine, east to Nova Scotia, and finishes in Halifax. Aurora has entered this race as well and prepares for the start in IRC 1. We're also aboard with Canadian Will APOLD on his Swan 78-footer, Valkyrie. And we're aboard with Dawn Riley with our Oak Cliff sailing team aboard a Kerr 50.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3. This boat says they're fine. 1, go.
The fleet starts in 2 short 1-mile legs off Marblehead Neck, mostly to please the spectators. Will APOLD steers Valkyrie. It's always great to get going. Aurora is about 1 boat length behind Bella Pita from Oxford, Maryland. Here's a view from Valkyrie with Aurora just to leeward and Bella Pita ahead. Aurora is locked into Bella Pita's wave. This boosts her speed by a full knot. As the boats approach the first turning mark, Aurora makes an aggressive move to keep Valkyrie from passing. Valkyrie is the windward boat and is required to keep clear under the rules. They make a dramatic alteration of course. Aurora bears away toward the mark and breaks the overlap. A good move early in the race. Oak Cliff is a smaller boat at 50 feet and about a quarter mile behind the leaders. Dawn Riley leads her young crew through a sail change. Aurora's steamed Benjamin hails to Valkyrie that there's no overlap. Valkyrie bears away to round the turning mark behind Aurora. The second leg of the course is another 1-mile beat to windward before heading toward Halifax. It's rare on a long-distance race for boats to be this close, but it does please the spectators. There's a lot of boats out here watching.
When do you want to go?
Nice turn for Aurora. Will APOLD takes it all in stride aboard Valkyrie.
Yeah, I just tacked around. We just got cut off by the other 2 boats, and we had to go in behind Aurora, but and now we just tacked over, so we're on Bella Pita now. So good start. We had a good start.
Now it's Oak Cliff's turn to round the mark. Oak Cliff's mission is to train young sailors. It's based on Oyster Bay, Long Island. Dawn Riley is the executive director of the program and is skipper for this race.
We're just gonna have to wait for him to go.
For me, a good moment. I get to steer Aurora around the second mark as we now head for Halifax. The wind is blowing 12 knots out of the southeast. Everyone is feeling good.
Starting the turn.
Valkyrie rounds a few seconds later.
9-1. 9-1 is compass bearing. 9-1 is the compass bearing.
9-1. Okay.
You got helm?
Got a little bit of weather helm.
That better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. We just...
The young sailors on Oak Cliff quickly get into a routine. The wind is forecasted to build through the next 24 hours. A good omen after that slow Annapolis to Newport race.
So everybody just like, actually Sue, why don't you...
Aurora is sailing at 11 knots. Aurora is 66 feet in length. Valkyrie at 78 feet passes to windward. The strategy aboard Aurora is to lock into Valkyrie's wake to get an extra boost of speed.
Just trying to see if that top telltale wants to show up. It still pops every once in a while, but it's yeah.
We're about a mile and a half outside the last mark on the start course. We got about 235 miles now to the south coast of Nova Scotia, Brazil Rock, and on up into Halifax around Sambro. Making good time.
Back of my mind, I feel like 5 degrees.
Flat water, roughly flat water, and a nice breeze holding. We pray that it holds into the night for us.
Aurora makes her move to lock into Valkyrie's wake. It's similar to race cars slipstreaming each other. This technique works well as long as the trailing boat has clear wind. And just like that, Aurora is locked into Valkyrie's waves and speeds up an extra knot.
We sure got a good ride from Valkyrie getting in her wave.
Happy with that?
We went for more than an hour, going probably close to a knot faster, so we gained a mile.
Well, we're doing pretty well. We got Aurora behind us. They're putting up code 0. We've got ours all ready to go, but we're going to hold off for a short while here just to see if the wind continues to shift after us, which we expect. We're going along pretty well. We're hitting 12s, so we're pretty happy with our boat speed. It's keeping up with Bellapita, and they always have a bit of time, so we're pretty happy. Good spot, good start. Happy crew.
It's always nice to be part of a happy crew. Competing in a race like the Halifax is a big logistical exercise, moving people, preparing a boat, and studying the weather patterns well in advance of the race to try and gain an edge. Aboard Dawn Riley's Oak Cliff, the young crew changes sails frequently with impressive efficiency. When you're at sea, there's always surprises in store. There she blows! A couple of whales off the starboard side. And there's another one. Valkyrie is sailing even faster, pleasing her navigator.
8 o'clock tonight, we're 175 miles from Brazil Rock, which is the next waypoint.
Right now we're trucking along about 13 and a half knots. Looks like it's a nice day, gonna be a nice night. Gonna get colder though, a lot colder. Got my hat on for that.
The Gulf of Maine can be notoriously cold even in summer.
So far, so good. Wind has come in nicely, better than predicted. We're going down the track, essentially going down the rum line. Things seem to be coming in line, close to what the model says, a little faster than the winds were predicted to come through yesterday. And we just hope this will keep up, because it's beautiful sailing right now.
As the sun sets, Aurora is sailing straight down the rum line, the direct course to Brazil Rock at the southwest end of Nova Scotia. Oak Cliff's Dawn Riley has had a highly accomplished career as a professional sailor. She has done 2 round-the-world races, including being on the all-women's team Maiden. She was also a crew member on the All-Women's America's Cup crew in 1995. The team almost made it to the final. In 2000, she put together her own cup team named America True. They reached the semifinals that year. Now she's helping young people.
Oak Cliff is a training and coaching center for adult sailors, and we train everybody from club sailors up to the world class. Our specialty is taking 18 to 30-year-olds and taking them from where they are to a top level in the boat shed, on the water, and in the front office.
Hundreds of sailors participate in short course races and long distance races every year. Dawn is the teacher.
As soon as the wind starts to back a little bit, we'll go with the A3, which will push us down the 20 degrees like that. Okay. Dan, pull. Okay, so Dan, out. Yes. No, not let go. Out, all the way down. Okay, you're doing this.
Why don't we wait 15 minutes, do one more plot, and then we'll have
and
a better...
also watch and see if he's actually... Coco, it's his second offshore. You know, Jacob, who's navigated, is his first offshore, first time navigating. But they're involved in everything from getting the boat ready to doing the safety inspections, to planning the charts, to sourcing the AIS, all of that.
There's no substitute for hands-on experience aboard a boat at sea. These sailors learn quickly.
Oak Cliff is open to anybody who wants to get better. They have to know how to sail, and they want to be dedicated to getting better. The customs guy asked Jakin and Aiden and Randy, they're like, so is she doing okay, and what's this like, and should I send my kids there? And they said, Jakin said, only if they really want to work hard.
The watch routine continues at night. 4 hours on, 4 hours off. Susie Leach captures the action during the midnight watch. Dawn Riley has to be alert at all times with the novice crew.
Hold 100 for the next 2 miles, 2.5 miles, and then we'll be clear.
There's a rock in the middle of nowhere, and kelp is surrounding it, evidently.
And we don't want kelp.
We don't want kelp. We don't like kelp. No,
Hold.
this is gonna work. got it. Right now where it's touch and go to see if we can advance far enough that we don't get flood here. We might be able to get through the worst of it in slack if we do everything perfectly. We need every tenth we can.
We lost the A2 spinnaker last night.
Oh, really? What happened?
Blew apart? Yeah, it just blew apart. You know, not even that much wind, but...
What can you do?
Gus Carlson studies his boat's progress. The temperature drops on deck, but the wind holds, and the fleet is sailing fast.
Well, we've got a lot of tide happening here, so we're being pushed up into the bay. We're going to change down to the A5, which is a closer reaching chute, to try to stay out to sea a bit more so we can make the Brazil Rock mark. We're going well. We've good speed and everything, but it's the tide that's a bit of an issue, so we're going to change down so we can point up higher.
When a boat is sailing this fast, the crew is aware that a record could be broken. The crew of Aurora is happy to be here. The team has been together for 1 year.
A year ago was our first offshore race with Newport, Bermuda, and we had a group that got together. The closing on the purchase of the boat was on the 11th of May. The boat was launched on the 18th, and we started the Bermuda race in 1 month later on June 18th. And we had a really well-assembled crew that worked together.
I've been doing it for a long time, a lot of different boats sitting in a lot of different positions, so I can hop from one to the other pretty quickly when I need to.
Sailing actually saved my life. I've been sailing for about 15 years. Went through a divorce, bought a sailboat, live on it, and started racing.
I had 4 women on the boat. BEATRICE WITZGALL is with us now, and she has been a great addition.
I started sailing pretty much when I moved to the States, so maybe 10 years ago. Always grew up with water, but waterlocked, unfortunately, and just love sailing, love being on the water, and so I ended up doing it like 3-4 times a week, whenever I could.
After so many years, it's great to be able to have a mixture of everybody from West Bemis, who's 18 years old, to Jerry and myself, who are in the senior category.
John Gladstone traveled from San Diego to sail in this race. He's the resident sailmaker aboard the boat. Aurora is working hard to break the speed record. It was set by Bruce Eisner's Starlight Express 20 years ago. The south coast of Nova Scotia presents several navigational challenges.
In Seal Island here, we're coming up to 6 miles away with some rocks to the south of it. And so there's a cardinal buoy here we want to stick to the south of before we head over. Heading out here to Brazil Rock, we just got to make sure we clear this first.
When you're sailing fast and the water's cold, the wind chill takes effect.
Well, I have long underwear, icebreaker fleece, soft shell jacket, and fleece, and my wet weather gear. 5. But I still have 3 more to go before it gets really cold. Exactly why I said that.
You'd expect a Canadian sailor to know how to dress for the cold. This crew member hooks onto a halyard to change a spinnaker sheet. It's an interesting view out away from the boat. He gets the job done. Down below, the navigation routine continues.
In an hour, we're going to be about here. So we're going to want maximum, we want to be in max flow. So we want to just kiss right along, right?
Okay. So you want to aim straight for Brazil Rock then?
That's the turning mark?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So that,
according to this one,
100 close over ground.
Look at that, the paper chart worked.
All right, well, it wasn't...
And yet, another sail change on Oak Cliff. As usual, Dawn Riley is in the thick of the action.
What do you mean, hold on? I got the halyard. Pull, forward. Now you're down, coming.
Valkyrie is on pace to break Starlight Express's record. So is Bella Pita, that's about 10 miles ahead of Valkyrie. Aurora is about 10 miles behind Valkyrie, at least in this point in the race.
Easy sheet.
But Valkyrie has a wrap sail, and the crew has to work to unravel it.
It should, in theory, pull itself out.
Success. Aurora's skipper, Gus Carlson, grew up in Canada.
We're in Canadian waters now, so in honor, I'm wearing my Team Canada Men's Hockey Gold hat. Told we're in Canadian waters now.
Hey, you're part of the American team.
Aurora is sailing at 13 knots. With his patriotic Canadian colors flying, Gus Carlson relieves the helmsman. It's a good time to take the wheel when the boat is sailing so fast. Racing for an Ocean Record is brought to you by Thomson Reuters, a proud supporter of competitive sailing and dedicated crews everywhere.
Good breeze, been reaching down the rum line, it's been pretty straightforward, no fog yet, yeah, it's been fantastic.
Valkyrie bears off around the corner of Nova Scotia and sets a new sail to gain more speed. She's now 2/3 of the way to Halifax. The start off Marblehead was 24 hours ago. A fair lead block is broken on Valkyrie, and the crew inspects the problem. At high speed, there's considerable load on the equipment.
About 24 hours into the race here, and we're just off Liverpool, Nova Scotia. A little bit of fog around us, but nothing too cold yet. We're about 8.8 miles behind Bellapita and about 9 miles in front of Aurora, so we're in a pretty good position. And the winds have lightened up, but to about 14 knots, and we expect them to pick up maybe to 20 later in the afternoon. So we should have a good finish to the mark. We're probably about 70 to 75 miles away from the turning mark to go directly into Halifax Harbor. And we hope to be there around midnight Monday night, which is pretty fast. We're pretty happy.
Valkyrie jibes the spinnaker as the infamous Canadian fog closes in. With GPS and radar, it's easy to navigate when there's little visibility. This race has featured pea soup fog in the past. So far in this race, the competitor's been lucky to have such good weather. Ron Weiss is charmed.
As we were approaching this area, we saw a different layer of clouds coming in that was coming lower, southwesterly flow of breeze about 200 or 300 feet up. And we felt that that was a precursor of a new breeze coming in that was probably going to bring in more moisture and humidity, react with the cold water, and therefore bring in a fog bank. It took a little longer than we thought it would, but it's here. And sailing in the fog, you don't have very much perspective. It's very easy to sort of lose your bearings. The other thing, of course, is you've got to be on your watch out we saw a lot of fishing boats earlier today, so we know they're out here. We've got our radar on, we've got somebody watching it all the time, and we're keeping a sharp eye out on the above decks as well.
So we'll just send you out there, grab the topping lift, and bring it back towards us. Yeah.
Taylor North gets prepared to go out on the end of the spinnaker pole to set the lines up for the next spinnaker. He takes it easy going out over the water. Taylor just graduated from college and is going to work for a sailcloth manufacturer. Hold on. Lucas MARRERO makes an adjustment to the staysail.
We're behind uncorrected. We saw that the code 0 and spinnaker reaching didn't suit us too well against the bigger boats, so maybe this VMG running could be a benefit to us.
The fog clears, better visibility. Aurora is not far from the coast. Remember, everybody's thinking about the race record. Can it be broken?
Here we go.
Back aboard Oak Cliff.
Why is it so hard? Push it out! Something's wrong! Something's not right! Mark, get it out of the water! Out of the water.
The solution for a twisted sail is to lower it down on the deck and try again.
Go up a little, Mark! High!
Oak Cliff recovers.
2, 1, out. There.
I'm not sure what this rubber doll is, but it's having a nice ride. The brain trust on Valkyrie studies the options for approaching the finish line. It's always good to have a consensus, particularly with night coming on.
Just got that for you.
Well, we're on the last 15 miles until we're going to throw in a jibe, and then we'll be heading directly into the harbor. And we're, in terms of boats, we're in second place. We're chasing Bellapita. We made up a bit of ground this afternoon of her. She's about 5 to 7 miles away to us off the port bow. And we're going pretty fast right now. We've been putting some time on her, so we're pretty happy about that. So we're about probably about 30 miles away from the finish. 30, 35 miles away from the finish right now.
Yeah, baby.
Everybody's getting pumped.
More problems on Oak Cliff. The spinnaker rips. Dawn Riley to the rescue. She and the rest of the crew wrestle the sail back on deck.
Oh, she can't. No, go right in.
Dawn doesn't sound happy. But the boat keeps racing. More navigation aboard Oak Cliff.
3 miles south of Cape Sable.
Which is inland, right? See what that's...
Playing the currents is a big part of approaching Halifax. And a new sail goes up aboard Oak Cliff. And the jibe toward the finish line. As the sun sets at the end of day 2, Aurora studies the current.
So it's not a big angle difference.
So the flood goes until 9? How late does the flood go?
It becomes favorable for us around 9.
Okay.
The wind shifts and Aurora sets a code 0 sail. Valkyrie's crew anticipates the finish. Land ho! Halifax, dead ahead. Valkyrie is sailing at 20 knots. What a way to finish an ocean race.
Okay, come back.
Halifax is one busy shipping port. The wind builds. With the sun below the horizon, Aurora is also sailing mighty fast at 17 knots. Finishing a long-distance race at night is tricky business. Valkyrie crosses the line at 10 p.m., just 32 hours after starting. Bellapita finished an hour earlier. Both have broken the Halifax record. Aurora finishes an hour and a half later. She, too, breaks the Halifax record.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Great job, guys. Great race. Fast race, great competition. It had none of the nasty bits that you're used to when you hear stories about Marblehead, Halifax. We saw only a little bit of fog, but the rest of the time, beautiful sunny days, starlit nights, 15 to 20 knots of breeze. Couldn't have been better.
I'm making us a courtesy fly.
Oak Cliff prepares for their finish. It's cold, it's wet, but it's fast. It's also 3:30 in the morning. Every second counts.
White knuckles. Same thing is happening.
Oak Cliff signals their arrival. Up ahead, the committee boat. There it is.
So we have a visual on the finish line, Mark. Down, 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 down. And Mark. Okay, got it?
There's the finish. The Royal Nova Scotia Yacht Squadron is nestled in a protected cove just south of the city. It dates back to the 1830s.
At least half the team had not been offshore before. So for them to get into it and in the fog and do sail changes, it was definitely a learning under fire. They're also a little spoiled because it was a really nice race.
Yeah, no, I got a tug on my toe as I was sleeping in my bunk. Woke up and said, you're the official winner of the race. And so we knew we'd done well, but you never know with boats behind you until it finishes. So we corrected out ahead of everybody else in IRC. So that was pretty wonderful.